Hi, welcome to the channel and this Thousand Sons Codex review. There's lots of videos out at the moment of over an hour long. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know in under 5 minutes. Thousand Sons was certainly needed a shake-up, and I think this Codex has definitely done that. They're a finesse army, and this Codex gives them a lot of tools they can use. In particular, helps them get their psychic powers off better. Let's start with some army-wide rules. The first thing everyone was looking for is the Marines are now getting an extra wound. Woohoo! The whole army gets +1 to cast, and every Psyker knows Smite, the power of their cult, and a number of others from the Psychic discipline. It's a shame to see that Hateful Assault has gone, Death to the False Emperor has also gone, and All His Dust as a general rule is also gone. Some units do have All His Dust built into their datasheets now, like the Rubent Marines and the Scarab Occult Terminators. Extra attacks normally from Hateful Assault are now being rolled into datasheets, so Rubent Marines get 2 attacks for instance. Another thing of note is that the Terminators now get objectives secured along with the troops. Something that most people think is a nerf is that they can no longer use spells from the Chaos Marines book. They're only allowed to use psychic powers from this codex, which basically means no more warp time. And you can only have 1 Demon Prince per detachment. Starting with this army's main feature, the psychic powers. There's lots of access to things to dish out mortal wounds and impair other armies' abilities. The Glamour of Zeech and Temporal Manipulation are back, but Infernal Gateway has gone. You've got 2 sets of psychic powers, Discipline of Change with 9 and Discipline of Vengeance also with 9. Lots have been carried forward into this codex. The key ones I'd like to highlight are Glamour of Zeech, Warp Charge of 6, which is -1 to hit, and Twist of Fate for Warp Charge of 8, which removes a unit's invuln. And with their +1 to cast and Kabbalistic Rituals, which I'll come on to later, that Warp Charge of 8 is really easy to achieve. Kabbalistic Rituals are a big new feature, and it's for Thousand Sons units only in the army. There are 9 rituals in total, and you can use one every psychic phase, and it's essentially to improve your psychic abilities. They cost between 3 and 9 points, and you can cast 1 per phase and only on 1 unit. Interesting way of doing this, you add up points depending on what type of psyche you have on the table, and this becomes your Kabbalistic Rituals pool, and you can then spend that in the phase to get buffs. The process starts again each psychic phase depending on how many psychics you got left on the board, and the key bit is these rituals cannot be blocked. So for example, Magnus gives you 4 points, Araman and Exalted Sorcerer give you 3 points, Normal Sorcerers 2 points, and then everyone else is 1. Highlighted 4 interesting ones here. Malevolent Charge, which is 4 points, gives you D3 more mortal wounds after wounding a unit. Wrath of the Immaterium, which is 9 points, adds 2 to your cast. Kindred Sorcerers, 5 points, adds 1 to the cast, so it's a slightly cheaper version of that. And Kabbalistic Focus for 8 points, where you cannot deny a psychic power. You have Infernal Pacts, which is a set of 6 buffs, which are only for the new Infernal Master character. You decide which one you're going to take, and the one I've picked out to highlight is Bladed Maelstrom. You target 1 unit within 30 inches. If that unit has more than 6 models, they receive 1 mortal wound, and then they get a -2 for advance and charge. The Cults of the Legion are largely unchanged from the Psychic Awakening, and there are 9. Each comes with a Psychic Power, Warlord trait, and Relic. One of the most popular is the Cult of Duplicity. Very interesting ways of being sneaky. The Psychic Power they have is Sorcerer's Facade and Warp Charge of 8, and that allows you to teleport a unit. The Warlord trait allows you to redeploy D3 units before the battle begins, and the Relic, Perfidious Tome, allows you to roll, and on a 3+ you get a CP, but on a 1 the opponent gets a CP. As we've seen with other codex, the characters can get upgraded. There are 9 options in this codex, costing between 10 and 35 points. Some good examples for the Aspiring Sorcerer, which is essentially the sergeant of that unit. They can know 1 additional power for 10 points, or you can give them a weapon skill, ballistic skill of 2+, and attacks go to 5, and that's only 10 points. Exalted Sorcerer powers are a bit more expensive. You can give 1 an additional relic for 35 points, or cast an additional power for 25 points. There's a great selection of relics for use for the characters. There's 17 in total. One I've highlighted here is particularly strong is the Stave Abominus, which is strength +3, -1 AP, 1 damage. But the key thing is it doubles attacks. There's lots of stratagems, 35 in total. I'm not going to go through them all because there's quite a few. I've picked out a few highlights, like Unwavering Phalanx, which is 1 or 2 CP depending on the size of the unit, and it reduces damage by 1. Or the Wrath of the Wrong for 2 CP. It's essentially the new Veterans of the Long War, and gives you +1 to wound. I can't do a Thousand Sons Codex review without talking about Magnus. An absolute fantastic Primarch model, and it's super powerful on the table. He knows all the psychic powers, he can cast and deny 3, he's immune to perils of the warp, he can reroll his cast, and just looking at his stats is also fantastic. 18 wounds, movement 6, 4+ invuln, only toughness 7, he gets 3 warlord traits, a bit like Mortarion, and he reduces damage by 1. He only has 1 melee attack profile, but he gets 8 attacks at strength 16, AP -4 and 3 damage. He's going to dish out some serious damage. We've rattled through the codex there. I hope you thought this was a good format. Let me know in the comments if you think I've missed anything, and see you again soon.